justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the minutes of the September 12, 2011 council meetings. The members of council had an opportunity to review those. If there are, is there a motion to approve?
Motion made.
Have a motion by Mr. Sherrock.
I needed to do that public hearing first.
Sorry about that. Let me approve this, and then we're going to do the public
Okay.
hearing.
Okay.
We've got a motion by Mr. Sherrock, second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Next item is the public hearing, which the mayor dropped the ball and should have done first. Mr. Goulart.
Okay, I want to declare the public hearing open for the public to discuss or comment or ask any questions concerning the 2012 fiscal year budget for the city of Fort Olgethorpe, which is ordinance number 2011-21. Is there anyone here that would like to comment? Okay, for the record, let the record indicate that there's no one here that desires to comment on it, so therefore I close the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. The budget fiscal year 2012 is going to be $13,683. Is that correct?
$13,693,448
Okay.
to be exact.
Okay. Next item is communication for the mayor. I'd like to welcome everybody here. It's election time. I thought we'd pack the place in and need a shoehorn, but doesn't look like we're going to. Glenn is here. The fire department, Bruce Ballou, received an award and found out about it a few minutes ago. Glenn, would you touch base on that for us?
Yeah, I actually came up here to let the council, city attorney, the mayor, I believe city manager was already aware of it, and the public know that Bruce and I, the Fire Chief Bruce Ballou, went to a joint conference last week between the Georgia Fire Chiefs Association and the Georgia State Firefighters Association. They give out an award every year, which is a special presidential award. This is for the whole state of Georgia, and people that have received this in the past has been people like John Oxidine, which is our past insurance and safety commissioner, and people like Lynn Perdue, which is the executive director of the Georgia Firefighter Standards and Training. Now, if y'all know Bruce, you know Bruce is not one that likes to be in the limelight when it comes to his men. He wants his men to turn around and get rewarded for what they do and not himself. But he did receive this award from the Georgia State Firefighters Association this last year. He got a plaque last Saturday night, and I just wanted to advise you all and let you all know that he had received this, which is a real prestigious award here in the state of Georgia. So I'm really proud of him. I hope you all are as proud as I am of him. And like I say, he's not here tonight. I don't even know if he's got back in town yet, because he was going to take a couple of days of vacation or something right after that too, because his wife had some vacation. So anyway, I did want to let you all know about it.
Thank you, Glenn. We're very proud of our fire department. We have an ISO 3, very proud of our police department too. The history of the fire department. I used to be a volunteer fire department member years ago, and there's nothing like the alarm going off at 3 o'clock in the morning, jumping out of bed, jumping in your car, and riding on the back of a fire engine that Junior Lehman was driving. It's an experience you would never, ever forget. So, but we're proud of Bruce, the fire department. They do a fantastic job. They save lives. Jerry Depkin, you're next.
There are some of us in the older generation like me who reads everything. If you get bored, I end up reading the Cheerios boxes just because it just helps. So I've been driving by, as you all have, by the Gilbert Stevenson Park. And you may or may not have noticed that in the corner, where you are on the road, in the far corner is a monument. There's some piece of concrete there, or marble, and it's got writings on it. So today, before the rain came, I decided I was going to go find out what that said. So it is the official, or Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC from the 1930s, the memorial that was put there along the walkway. There's a front and a back. There's writing on both sides. So I'm going to give you the front of the memorial. At the top section, there's a relief. So drawn into what is it, marble, granite, whatever it may be, it's the last thing quite well, is a relief. There is a young man standing there. He has his shirt off. A lot of them had their shirt off in the heat, especially in the South. So when you see photographs, that depicted him quite well. He had a kind of like what we would call a slouch hat from the Civil War time. Had no form to it, but it was just kind of down, keeping him protected from the sun. He had his shirt over his left arm, and on the right, in his right arm, he had an axe, and he was leaning on it. Two trees, big tree and a small tree on either side, and a round circle in the upper left-hand corner for the sun. Okay, as you will hear, this memorial was dedicated on Veterans Day 2002. Those remembered served their country in a war fought on our nation's soil. This was a different war, but no less vital to the future of our country. During the 1920s, weather and soil erosion wreaked havoc on the agricultural production of the United States. You can really, if you think about it, date back to the beginning of the Depression to the Dust Bowl and the agricultural problems. The Dust Bowl had been documented in picture, movies, and books. And for us Americans in the Tennessee Valley, the erosion and land loss has been part of our family's memories. The TVA project developed fertilizer at Marshall Shoals, Alabama, and river and flood control by building dams along the Tennessee River. Complementing this work was that of the Civilian Conservation Corps, which served nationwide to rescue and reclaim both the land and the youth of America. So it says on the front, the Civilian Conservation Corps Alumni Chapter 148 of Fort Olgethorpe, Georgia, do hereby place this monument on the 11th day of November 2002 in Gilbert Stevenson Park, Fort Olgethorpe, Georgia, in honor of all of our dedicated young men who served as Roosevelt's Tree Army from 1933 until 1942 in the Civilian Conservation Corps. This mighty tree army went to battle against destruction and erosion of our natural resources. During this battle, the CCC built 3,470 fire towers, built 97,000 miles of truck roads, planted more than 2,300,000,000 trees, and devoted 4,135,000 man-days to fighting fires. Not to claiming back erosion, not to be planting anything, just to fight fires. There may be global warming, this is just an aside, but trust me, there have been fires here a lot. And when you see those things out at Yellowstone going on for weeks, you need to know that our rangers here at Chickamauga Battlefield are trained in firefighting, and they rotate out and they go out there and do their part. So when you hear about these things, they're pulling from everyone. 84,400,000 acres of man-made drainage systems for a large portion of the United States was built by the CCC, as well as making outstanding contribution in the development of recreational facilities in national, state, county, and metropolitan parks. This war was fought and won by the Civilian Conservation Corps. The signature, as you would put on a letter, is CCC Alumni Chapter 146, Fort Olgethorpe, Georgia, and then centered at the bottom is the seal of Conservation Corps, which is CCC, and then it just spelled at the bottom, and it has some trees in it and a lakeside, because that's a lot, area where they did their work. So we may still be putting in sewer systems, and we may still want to see an end to that. But drainage systems, however they come about for whatever reason, probably will always be with us because they have to be rebuilt. But this was a really severe time And if you have family that date back that, and if you've seen the movies where they've building the dam and flooding cemeteries and flooding families out and having to move them, it was all because I call TVA to be the big octopus of one of Roosevelt's projects. It had to grab a lot of things at the same time. It had to stop the flooding, stop the erosion, plant the trees, find some way of fertilizing this land that had been so used up. And it grabbed at a lot of things, and it affected all of us, and it still does today. But that's a super neat monument, and it's there in the park. So if you walk around the walking track and come at it from where you park your car, then that first curve right there is where it is. Get off the track, walk over, and take a look. And next meeting, I'll give you the backside, which tells a little bit about the Tree Army. Good kids.
Thank you, Jerry. Next item on the agenda, annexation, we have none tonight. Next item on the agenda is zoning, second reading. Mr. Goulart.
Ordinance number 2011-20 zoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Olgethorpe, Georgia, and it is hereby ordained by the authority thereof, that the following property owned by Peachtree Housing Communities, LLC, under contract with Brenda Mathis, known as address 1565 Dietz Road, map and parcel number 0013D002, is hereby given a zoning classification of PM. That's the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. We only vote on the third reading, if you're not familiar. And we have some scouts here that come into our council meeting. Welcome. So, next item on the agenda, miscellaneous ordinances. Mr. Goulart.
Ordinance number 2011-19. It's an ordinance to amend the 2011 fiscal year budget, which was budget ordinance number 2010-04. And that budget amendment for the current budget is to reflect general fund income, additional income of $390,363.38. Likewise, the same expense of $390,363.38. The municipal court to show an additional $5,000 for attorney restitution and $5,000 as a contingency. Water and sewer to reflect an additional income of $19,711 and the expense likewise of $19,711. Income from Splosh to reflect the amendment to be $642,241.08. Also to be an expense of $642,241.08. The CDBG grant of $60,000 from the Department of Community Affairs. Likewise, that will be expensed out at $60,000 on sewer. That's the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. Next item, another second reading of an ordinance. Mr. Goulart.
Ordinance number 2011-21. This is the proposed budget for fiscal year 2012. The budget proposal is that the revenues would be $13,693,448. The expenditures would be $13,693,448, and that's the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Goulart. Next item on the agenda, resolutions. We have none tonight. Next item on the agenda under new business, approve reimbursement to Catoosa County for the cost of easements and construction to abandon the Logan's Charge subdivision pump station. Mr. Goulart.
Yes, as you know, the county currently has a sewer project going on in Lakeview, and we saw the opportunity to perhaps get the county to agree to expand their current contract, which would include the removal of the Logan's Charge subdivision pump station, and it's actually located off of Cross Street. It's a pump station that we maintain. They agreed to do that. We're asking that you approve reimbursement to the county for this project in the amount of $28,206.34.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gray, second by Mr. Ham. Any further discussion? Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Ham?
Yes.
Mr. Schrock?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. Next item on the agenda, City Manager's report.
Have nothing to report at this time.
Next item on the agenda, City Council comments and business. Mr. Ham?
Don't have anything.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I got two or three things here. Appreciate you doing that for Bruce. I mean, I'm very proud of you people over there at the fire department, men and women. I'm very proud of you. I want to thank everybody here. We got a pretty good crowd for a change, so glad to see you's out here. At the next meeting, could you have Mike to be here to explain maybe the PM, or you do it, or whoever, on these apartments down here at Leach Road, what that PM is, what it means, what it covers, for the public to understand.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Actually, it's pretty much the same thing as a PUD.
Yeah.
So it's a planned unit development where they have to have a comprehensive plan as to the commercial and residential use of the property. But what I can do also is make that, if there's anyone out here that would like to have a copy of that particular zoning classification, they just come by my office and I'll make it available, and plus I'll put it in your package too.
Yeah,
But I'll have him here if there's any questions.
A lot of people don't know, I mean, they say PM and they wouldn't have any other idea.
Either he'll be here or I'll do it.
Okay,
One of the two.
okay, thank you.
And we normally have a representative on the third and final reading to explain those things. Mr. Schrock?
Well, we've had another cruise in since we met the last time. Looked like everybody enjoyed themselves. A little cooler, pretty good crowd. And believe it or not, it got a little bit cool for the mayor to get in the dip tank.
It did.
I was disappointed to not see him in there because I was going to try to dunk him.
Yeah, you've made a habit out of it.
But anyway, that's all I have. We got one more cruise in. I understand this year it should be a lot cooler than the next one. And we all better enjoy it all we can because this is the last one for this year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Schrock. Mr. Gray?
I'd like to thank Glenn for coming. And, I'll tell Bruce when I see him personally, but congratulations. Him as well as you and the entire department. We appreciate y'all.
Is that it? Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Stanton?
I don't have no comment there, thank you.
Next item on the agenda, citizen petitions and requests. Anybody in the audience? Ms. Lucky?
Can't resist, can you, Miss Lucky?
I just got to do it. I'm talking about election. It's coming up soon. The first thing is to register to vote. If you are not registered to vote, the last day to register is October the 11th. And you can go by City Hall and get a card there, the registration card, and sign up there. Or if you're in the Ringgold area, you can go down to Catoosa Annex and register there. So either place you need to register. And then our early voting will begin on Tuesday, October the 18th. And that'll be over in the other area. And that's your early in-person voting. The paper absentees will start going out, but first you have to call and get an application form. We have a lot of them, so we won't run out. So call and get, or come by and get one. It can be faxed to you as well. So we try, Carol, we try everything we can to get them to you and then get them back. And then our advance voting will begin on October 31st and November the 8th at Constitution Hall. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Mrs. Lowe.
Okay.
Anyone else? It's a quiet group. Yes, sir. Come forward and identify yourself.
My name is Joseph Nunzio Floyd. Okay, so I live at 111 Van Clay. And so this is the first time I've been up for a group.
Just relax, buddy. We normal
Hey,
people just
We
like
don't
you.
bite.
Was saying that like I like to give y'all a little history. Okay, about myself. Okay, now my mother's the grandpa that was born in Catoosa County. And so when he passed away, he was 112 years old. And so that there though was in 1974. Okay, but anyway, okay, so my great-grandpa, though, used to work at Fort Olgethorpe. You know, any kind of job, shoveling manure, and he made 50 cents a day. Then he worked at O.B. Andrews over on Ross Boulevard. And so they made, is it wooden boxes? So some of them wooden boxes though went well during World War I. It's sea racing boxes. Okay, but anyway, they was 78 is a great grandchildren. And so I'm one of them. And so they was 14 in their family. And he also, though, had some twin brothers. And so they, though, lived in Dalton. And so I think back in, is that Dalton, though, was part of Catoosa County. Okay, but I'm not sure. Okay, so my grandmother, though, was born, though, in Rising Pond, Georgia. And so they, though, lived up in Noodlewall. You know, they did all their farming up there and everything. Okay, so when I was growing up, you see, I think I was 14 in a family, though, living in a, is it 2-bedroom house. And it's up in Noodlewall. Okay, now, does anybody know where, is it Harrison Cemetery is? Up on 58 Highway? Okay,
I believe
so
I
my
do.
great-grandpa, though, bought them plots up there. And I think it's about $8 a piece. Okay, so he's got, you see, I think it's about 30-something. Is it 10 folks, though, that's buried up there. And then my great-grandpa, though, was born in 1850. And so he, though, was 12 years old during the Civil War. And, okay, now, the way the story goes, he, though, was too young for World War I. Okay, then he had, is it grandkids, though, that was in, is at World War II and Korean War. And his great-grandkids, though, was in the Vietnam War. Okay, but far as I know, I was on one over. Okay, but anyway, okay, so my mother, though, met my daddy. Okay, now his grandparents, or his mom and daddy, though, was immigrants, okay, from Italy. And so they passed away, though, before I was born. Okay, so it's a grandma, grandpa. Okay, so my grandpa, though, was a tailor. And then my grandma, though, was a seamstress. Okay, so my daddy, though, was 33 years old, though, when he met my mother. And so anybody know about Alabama? Albertsville is a POW camp. Okay, but anyway, he was 33, though, now when he went in the military. You know, get his citizenship. And he got frostbite. You know, at Stockade up there. Okay, so he went to Tuscaloosa. You know, they got a hospital up there. Then he come Fort Olgethorpe down here, and it was a cook. And he was drawing 10%. Okay, so 10% is what? I'd say about $40 a month. It was all he was getting over that disability. Okay, but anyway, see, now my mother, though, was 16 years old. And so she, though, used to work at a PX, is in Fort Olgethorpe down here, selling cigars. And so they was scrounging, you know, raking and everything, because they had a large family. Okay, so when I was growing up, I was poor. You know, poor as dirt. Okay. And so when I turned 17, okay, now my mother, though, said I was Floyd. You know, which I thought because she was my mother. Okay, but anyway, she was married 3 times. And so I got my name changed. And so I was 43 years old. And so my name right now is Joseph Nunzio DeVito Floyd. Okay, now that's my name now. And to me, boy, it's a God-given name, Murray. You know, but my birth certificate says Nunzio DeVito. Okay, so I was named, though, after my grandpa up in New York. I ain't never met him. I don't know one thing about my daddy. Okay, but anyway, he, though, tried to get a job down here, O.B. Andrews. Okay, after he met my mother. And so they was living down on Pine Street. Anybody know where Pine Street is? Shoveling coal. They had a little coal place down there too. And so my daddy used to climb over that fence there to get coal. I mean, now that was how poor we was. And so he went over. O.B. Andrews over there, though, looked for a job. You know, he just got out of the military and everything. And so they told him over, they said, we don't hire wops. You know, then they call us Dagos too. And to me, though, right now, boy, that's racism. You know, see, but I stuttered real bad, though, when I was growing up. I've been abused. And so I left home at 16 years old. And so how I got in the military under a different name, I'll never know. Okay. Okay, though, but my mother, okay, now she though did sign up affidavit, affidavit of saying though that I was 17 years old. But I still went by Floyd. And buddy, I was glad though getting that on me, because I stayed hungry. Then I worked at Stanley Coast Thatcher. And so I was making, I think about $1.10 an hour. It's maybe 90 cents an hour. I don't remember. Okay, but anyway, I joined the Army. I went to Fort Jackson.
Look, we have a 5-minute time limit.
Okay.
And you've talked for about 12 minutes, and I do appreciate you being here and sharing this with us. We really do
Okay, now,
appreciate
can I
it.
say though one more thing, Mr. Mayor?
Okay.
Okay. I was at Fort Meade, Maryland up there in '69. Okay, the 6th Cavalry Museum down here don't know one thing about our history up there. And so the museum that y'all got, it was at Fort Meade, Maryland up there. And the colors all come down here. And so I asked that lady, about Fort Meade, because I was a medic up there. There was 12 guys in our dispensary. And so we had over 4,300, that we served. And so a lot of them all come back to Vietnam and everything. Okay, but anyway, though, they got deactivated, though, in '71. And the colors, though, went down here. A World War tank was up there at the museum, but I don't know what happened there. Okay, but it had a ace of diamonds on it. I can remember that well. Okay, but anyway, well, saying it like I feel like, that helicopter, though, that's up on that pedestal, it don't even belong up there. And to me, that's eyesore. But, she said, well, it's there.
And it gets attention.
Then the unicorn, though, that's on these police cars, they shouldn't even be on there. Okay, now just like the colors. Okay, now they retired. And the unicorn, though, should be right in that museum there instead on these police cars. Because that there was a Army unicorn, a small one. Okay, but I got the big one.
I don't mean to cut you off.
Okay, but I feel like I'm a crime fighter right now, just over them unicorns.
Thank you very much for being here and sharing that.
I'll be back next month.
Okay.
I don't want to
Thank you very
be
much.
sarcastic, but I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the audience. I would listen.
Thank you.
Like I say, I ain't never in my life hope stood up on there.
Well, you did well. You did well tonight. Thank you very
Well, I
much.
appreciate it.
Anyone else? Mr. Stoltz, do we have anything on executive session?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Ham. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.